how my life has changed. It's not that people have not done beautiful things through a belief that God inspired their actions. It is that when love is not the beginning, the heart, and the end of the matter, you are on dangerous ground. A story. Once upon a time, there was a 13-year-old boy who lived in Singleton, an Australian country town in the state of New South Wales. His mother used to take him to the local All Saints Anglican Church, where he was a server, altar boy in the Catholic tradition, and taught Sunday school to much younger children. This boy had an innocent, somewhat childish, simple view of God. His most favourite description of God was from one of the letters of John. God is love. The boy pondered those words. It seemed to him that understanding the real meaning of those words summed up the whole history of God's relationship with humans. God's character was love, pure love, and the task of any believer in that God was to try and become more loving, more kind, and more compassionate in how they treated others and themselves. After all, the boy thought, when asked what the greatest commandment was, didn't Jesus answer? Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So love seems to be very important in the scheme of things. The boy in that story, in case you haven't guessed already, was me. Now, 55 years later, I am in many ways a disillusioned Christian. As a husband, father and grandfather, I've seen the best and the worst of Christianity and some other religions in my lifetime. The worst makes me want to give it up entirely. It brings shame upon a faith that's meant to be good. It shames, if possible, God, who is the source of that faith. The best of Christianity I still hold on to with a loose and tenuous grasp. The best brings value to those beliefs, or is the outcome of that belief. In my journey as a frustrated Christian, I see it this way. I was at my best when I remembered God is love, and saw myself and others in that light. I was at my best when that love was my motivation. That love, however, has to be all-encompassing. At the age of 19, my love for Jesus was such a passion that it caused me to give up my parents, my brother and sister, and my friends in pursuit of that love. I joined a fundamentalist evangelical group that provided simple black and white answers to the world's problems of good and evil, and we began to believe that we had all the answers that no one else had. No surprise that a few years later, the founder of that group, a woman called Violet Pryor, claimed to be God. In the book My Brother's Eyes, my brother John and I tell the outside and the inside story of our experience of that exclusive sect. It was a very painful journey that meant our parents died before my wife and children and I were reconciled to them. So much suffering caused to my wife and my parents and our siblings and families and to our own. All because the belief God is love was replaced in many ways by the God Dawkins rejects. Links to the audiobook of My Brother's Eyes, as recommended by best-selling authors Bryce Courtney, Philip Yancey, Colin Mason and Derek Hansen, will be provided on the YouTube pages. Knowing how I got things so terribly wrong is a constant reminder that it is very easy for anyone to get belief in an unseen God wrong too. In Shaming God, How Insiders Do It Best, I will show how many people, like me, have got it wrong, that many public Christians, evangelists, television personalities, priests, popes, bishops and cardinals have forgotten the core message that is love in belief, love in words, love in action. It will also show that love never demands people behave a certain way, act a certain way, attend this church or that, and it doesn't control what they do with their money, their time, or their bodies. Love doesn't delight in calling others evil, but rejoices in the truth that is love, and so it protects, trusts, hopes, and perseveres. Today, I believe that teenage boy had recognized a wisdom that many sages had sought, that the greatest power that holds humanity and everything else together is love, and it is never fear, service of others, and never power over others. If I had held closely to that belief, I would have seen through a false god, one that demanded worship, obedience, loyalty, and love, and much more. I didn't realize then, as I should have, that you can't demand love or worship. Anyone who has suffered through a toxic relationship with domestic violence knows that. The moment someone demands your love, you know they are incapable of loving you, because love is always freely given or freely withheld. You'll find more about that in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, known as the Bible's love chapter. It is quoted by people with or without faith in God, at weddings, funerals, and in churches. Sweet words, but also mind-numbingly tough. Consider this: love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. If that was the standard by which we all try to live our lives, we would have no time to be concerned with the failings of others except to protect the innocent. And these words are echoed in other parts of the Bible, Old and New Testaments. Why then do so many people in positions of power not emphasize love as the core value, the central message, the character of God, but rather focus on verses that seem to give them the right to judge those they don't understand or necessarily like? Where then is their love? Where then is mine if I neglect it? I hope you find what I write challenging. I don't write to make converts, except to help people see that love is the answer, that if everyone on the planet is in effect your neighbour, and loving and caring for others should be food for our souls. Finally, if you're in a financial position to support my writing, please become a patron. I start this work committing 100% of what I raise to help some of the most misunderstood and marginalised of all refugees in Africa, those who are hated because of who they love. My writing here is free to everyone, so that no one is discriminated against because of lack of funds. If you like what I write, please share it widely. My hope and prayer is that it will change hearts and save lives.